Welcome back to What's in Your Leadership Backpack and our guest series for 2023. Here we are together again.
Yeah, we're here with Sandhya, who is a friend, someone who's worked in coaching and someone who I've known for a while now. And she's up to speed on how this works. So we want to know, Sandhya, a little bit about you. Of course, we're going to have all kinds of details in the, what do we call it? In the
The
comments.
write-up post LinkedIn thingy.
It'll all be
That
there.
thingy, yes.
And really what we're curious about is what is the tool, what's the leadership tool that you're really leaning into right now?
Yeah, well, yes, thank you for having me on. My company is called Self at Work and call myself a leadership and team coach. And my go-to tool in my leadership backpack with myself and my clients is the Enneagram framework. And the Enneagram framework is a known to be kind of like a personality assessment, but I like to think of it much more as a tool for emotional intelligence development.
Cool.
And so this tool, what's the impact when you use it or use it with yourself or clients or?
Yeah, so you guys probably are very familiar with a lot of personality assessments, right? MBTI and Hogan and StrengthsFinders and all these things. And I think any tool that gives us more self-awareness or helps us maybe communicate better with others, like DISC, is a great tool. The thing that I love so much about Enneagram is that you can kind of get all four quadrants of the like emotional intelligence model in this one tool. And the way it does that, so there's 9 different types. It's rooted in some pretty, deep kind of ego psychology. And so you can kind of like, when we talk about immunity to change or what's really at the core of why behavior change is hard, it's really often about self-protection and identity and things like that. And I feel like with Enneagram, you kind of get the cheat codes to what is that thing underneath all the other stuff, right? So many of these other tools talk about how we show up, how we behave, what are the traits, right? The personality traits. Enneagram does talk about those, but it also talks about what's the core motivation behind those.
Yeah.
And so it's really all about, okay, I'm a direct communicator, or I get impatient with people that slow me down, or I have problems saying no to people, but why? Like, what's at the root of that? And what is the way that kind of like my body is maybe putting the ego in the driver's seat and keeping me safe? But sometimes the ways we think we're keeping ourselves safe get in the way of us doing what we want to do.
Sandhya, I'm so curious, what is like a personal learning that you've had recently with this tool?
Yeah, well, I'll give you 2. I posted about one on LinkedIn just this morning. One of the things that I learned was my kind of confidence. I can show up really confidently, and yet I always want feedback and recognition and things like that. And so asking for what I need is important because the perception of how I show up might lead people to think that I'm good. I got it covered. And so, those times where it's like, you kind of want someone to read your mind and I'm like, I just want to be seen for this thing, or can you give me praise, or those types of things. I know to ask for that. Another one just in the entrepreneurial space, right? If you have a community of coaches that are listening, so much of what we do is about putting our thoughts and ideas out into the world in terms of like how we market our business. And just knowing that, like, for me, I'm an Enneagram type 3, and I can be very image conscious, even though I don't want to be, even though I'm confident in who I am and what I'm doing. There's a sense of, are people going to judge me for putting this out in the world? What if somebody comments on my LinkedIn post and they say, actually, you're wrong, and here's the research to back up why, or, like all these things that probably aren't going to happen, but we build up these kind of perceptions in our head. It kind of helps me catch myself in the act of, okay, you're worried about what people are going to think of you, but like, is that standing in the way of like you helping somebody,
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so the cheat codes for building awareness. I hear like the Enneagram is just really, really the place to go for that, for the sake of, as you're pointing to, like building awareness and then actually shifting into those behaviors, those actions, like that will lead to success. So, oh, real cool tool.
Yeah, and I think it's really like a lot of tools give us self-awareness. This also says, okay, what do I need to do to self-regulate? What do I actually need? For me, it's like connecting with my emotions, where I'm really great with other people's feelings, and I sometimes forget that I have my own. So like understanding that and what's the practice that I can use around self-regulation. But then when you kind of expand it out to teams, you get into that like other side of the emotional intelligence model, and you can, build empathy by understanding, okay, this person and myself, we butt heads all the time, and for some reason we just can't agree, and it's because you're coming from two different motivations. Or I can meet this person halfway in my communication by understanding where I'm starting and where they're starting, and how we can meet each other in the middle.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, we could go on and on and on. And we have to zip up the backpack for now. You want to learn more, hit up the links and all that. And a gift to be with you. And thank you for sharing this with us and our world.
Yeah, and thank you all for giving your community so many good resources all the time. It's like, we can read all the articles in the world, but what do we go do with all this information? And what are the different tools that are going to work for different people in different ways? So I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye for now.